Nurture and support. Nurture and support. This is a podcast theme song. And it's really short.
Nurture and support begins in 3, 2, 1.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Nurture and Support, a recommendation podcast. Tonight, brought to us by...
Episode 22 of Nurture and Support, brought to you by Windows 8.
And tiny little laptop screens. Hi, everybody. I'm Kelly Toole, at KELLYTHUL on Twitter. And with me, as always, is Mel on not her favorite hardware. Hi, Mel. How are you today?
I suck today. I'm on a absolutely hated Windows 8 laptop because I'm having technical difficulties and I'm not happy. So excuse my bad attitude, but any of you that know me on Twitter are well acquainted with my bad attitude. So it will just be another day in paradise. So I'm Mel at Karmic9 on Twitter if y'all have forgotten. And we have a special guest with us tonight who you have just heard giving a nice Windows 8 product placement, which we won't get paid for, but hey, we can wish.
Huge money coming our way.
Definitely.
It is Matt Shivers back to join us.
Hello, everybody. It's Matt Shivers, at Matt Shivers VO on Twitter, also at Shivers Media, and you can find me at shiversmedia.com.
All right.
And there's that stupid better mic that he's got.
Yes. He's come back to make us all sound terrible, especially on a day when I'm having terrible technical issues. But that's okay. I'm going to move past it.
So thanks for that, Matt.
Somebody bring me a margarita.
I feel very nurtured and supported right now. Thank you.
That's our goal, really.
Right.
It is.
So I'm going to go ahead and kick things off for today. You all know the drill for the show. I'll give a recommendation, and when it's guests, it's less work for Mel and I. Yay. I'll give a recommendation. Matt will give a recommendation. Mel will give a recommendation. Spoiler alert, that will not be for Windows 8. And then we'll go into some social media recommendations to end the show. So I'm going to start off. My recommendation is a website, mobile app, a way of life. No, I don't know if it's a way of life, but it's a social network.
That's like 3 recommendations right there.
Yeah, it's the multifaceted because it's the type of preparation I put in for every single show. It's a site called Nextdoor. It's one word, Nextdoor, and Matt, you may have some familiarity with other Nextdoors out there. This is probably not the first one that's popping in your mind.
I know the Nextdoor you're speaking of. You and a mutual friend of ours shared it with me a while ago, actually.
That's right.
A little bit ago. Yeah, I know. Please continue, sir.
So way to make my recommendation sound dated, Matt. That's helpful.
Well, we can maybe edit that out. I don't know if Mel wants... that's Mel's discretion, really. If she wants to do that, that's fine.
I think there's like a Windows 8 macro to kind of remove that kind of stuff. So she'll be
that's
cleaning that stuff up right and left.
Somebody bring me a margarita, please. Please, someone help.
Yeah. So Nextdoor is it's a social media network for your neighborhood, and what they basically set up is an environment where somebody starts a Nextdoor site, and it's free, and as long as you get up to 10 people to sign up in the neighborhood as well during about a 30 to 60-day trial period, you're able to keep the site, and it remains free. So this is a no-cost proposition for you, our favorite kind of thing. And it is basically a Facebook without Farmville and other kinds of ridiculous things on that, but it creates an environment where folks can post amongst their neighborhood about, hey, during the winter, for those of us who live in crappy land like Illinois, hey, the exits out of the subdivision right now are really slick, be careful, those types of things. Really a lot of business on our Nextdoor site deals with wildlife sightings. So we have 2 roosters in the subdivision currently, and we're being kept up to date on their location. And
you need to be careful about those things. If they got their talons, the little like fingers on the ankles, man, don't get cut by those.
Fingers on an ankle is a great name.
It's a technical term. Right, right.
Fingers on an ankle. Anyway, and also foxes, coyotes, and the stray beaver have also been reported on our Nextdoor site. So, but it can do more than just be a place for you to post pictures of vermin in your neighborhood. it's a way to connect. It basically offers a classified ad board kind of thing too, where you can put things up about, hey, I've got family visiting and they got a little kid. Does anybody have a playpen that we could kind of borrow for the weekend or something like that? And so babysitters, all that kind of stuff. So it's a really great way for the community to kind of connect up. They're real good about the verification part, because I'm on our homeowners association board because I'm an idiot, and the the process to do a lot of these things, the folks are saying, well, I wanted to try and get them electronic and digital. And I was saying, hey, we could create a Facebook group, we could do updates on Twitter, and this is not a tech savvy neighborhood, I would have to say. Not a lot of interest in that, and there's a pretty bad attitude about Facebook in terms of some folks saying, I don't want to be there, I don't want to be parts of it. And so this creates a nice container that it's really your neighborhood, and then they introduce an idea called nearby neighborhoods. So you've got the stream of everything that's going on in your neighborhood, and then anybody else in your vicinity who has a Nextdoor site, you can also see what they're posting, but you've got control over this gets posted, it can only be viewed by our residents, or this gets posted, it can be viewed by anybody nearby, and those types of things. So you've got good controls on how broadly or narrowly you broadcast something. You can stay connected, and it's a really good way. A lot of folks have said or questioned on some of these types of things. So does that really help you? If you want people to connect, why would you want to do something like that? Don't you want to go meet in person and all those types of things? What I've found is, particularly with new people coming in, I have gotten to know new people in the subdivision much quicker through Nextdoor, because they'll show up, they'll become a member, they'll say, hey, I'm here, and you kind of know where they live, and you can kind of connect up to them and get kind of a sense of the folks coming in. So it actually kind of creates a nice little community feel of folks being able to share information. As with any social site, there's a chance that a flame war could break out if some neighbors aren't getting along. We've been fortunate so far that it's been pleasant. We haven't had any of that yet, but it's a really handy site. The other thing, in a very self-serving mode, I'd like to bring up at this point in time is, if Nextdoor sounds like the thing for you, and you want to perhaps email me send me your email address, and I recommend you. I get stuff.
Here comes the referral.
That's right. There's a referral process with Nextdoor that I'm not opposed to. But to me, it's more important you try it. It's even better if you try it, and I recommend you. But the most important thing is to try it. You don't have to have me recommend you. You can just do a search on Nextdoor, go in, make the request, and they'll set you up. And then they do a nice job of making sure that the people who are signing up are actually in your neighborhood. It starts out with kind of a postcard model or a phone model to do the initial verification of the first couple people, and then they can keep doing that to saying, this is my address, and they'll mail something to your address with a code. You enter that code, and it locks you in and says, yep, obviously this is where you live, here you go. So it does a nice job in kind of keeping it secure. It's a nice set of features. If you're living in a community or subdivision with a number of different neighbors, it's a great way to connect and kind of keep things up. So you can get to it online very easily through the website. You can also, they've got apps for iOS and Android, so you can also keep track of there. So I can at a moment's notice know where the roosters in Hawthorne Hills are at. So this is helpful to me.
All right, I want to know the dark side of this. You mentioned potential flame war. I want to know, like, if I get this, can I say, hey Bob, mow your damn lawn. Your lawn's too tall. We all agree on the social network that your lawn is too tall. You need to get out there and mow it. And you're not seeing any of that right now for your place, right? But that threat exists.
Yep. It certainly does, and particularly for malcontents like you, is where you'd be the kind. If you were in my community, I'd be watching you closely.
Right.
Yeah, that risk is there. It's so.
But you are on the homeowners association, so.
Yeah. And I do have the ability. There's a core group of people who are set up as administrators for the Nextdoor site that can remove comments and moderate and do all that kind of thing. I've had to remove one post in the 3 years that we've been doing this, and it was just someone who was putting out a straight advertisement for a family member's business, and it really didn't align, and so I kind of pulled it down and talked to him. And so you can send messages. So if you want to tell Bob to mow his lawn, you can send him a message, via Nextdoor. It will
Mhm.
actually show up in his email account, but you won't have his email address. You're doing it through Nextdoor, so
Mhm.
it maintains a certain level of privacy. If you and Bob decide to have it out in the comment section or in a series of posts, as a moderator, I could choose to either let that play out
Uh-huh.
or at some point step in and drop the
Kelly
post.
will just send the roosters over to your house to get
Right.
you.
Release the roosters.
I think he's behind them from the very start.
Yes.
We do have webcams on them, which is because
GoPro mounted roosters.
that's right.
I need to go see if nextdoorflamewar.com is available.
That would be.
That might be fun to take a look at.
And at some point, you're gonna. I mean, just like when they showed the really funny Facebook posts and all those types of really inappropriate, unfortunate Facebook posts. I gotta imagine Nextdoor is going to generate some of those. But the nice part is the way it's built is that silliness is going to be confined to your own neighborhood. So if you're in a configuration of some sort of subdivision with a decent number of families, it's another nice way to stay kind of connected, share information. It works on a mobile phone, it works on websites, it works on all platforms. I'm not sure if there's a Windows 8 version available if you have a Windows 8 phone.
Oh, I bet
Bite me,
there is.
Kelly.
I'm sorry. I should have trusted.
So this is only for people that are in actual physical proximity to each other. You can't form, like your own group of friends online that could get one of these. It's only for people who actually physically live close to each other.
Correct. Because it actually is it's pretty cool. It matches up with Google Maps, and that it drops down onto your subdivision and draws out all the streets, and they draw a plot line around. Okay, our understanding is your subdivision contains these residences. And you can actually, as they continue to improve it, before I used to have to kind of email back and forth with them about, that house is actually in a different area and all that. Now I can go in as administrator and I can pull people in and out of the subdivision to my heart's content and say, you're in, you're out. And I do that sometimes at night just for entertainment purposes. But you can kind of do it. But there is that physical proximity piece. So
Okay.
you, Matt, and I couldn't form our own Nextdoor community.
Right.
That would be a really funky looking map.
Well, see, I'm trying to think of what the name of this is, and if anybody out there knows of it, I came across some website several years ago that plotted out all of the bad neighbors. And see, that's my neighborhood. It's just full of bad people because there's not a lot of people. I don't have a subdivision. We're out in the country, so we had. I remember looking at my neighborhood, and I think we had 3 people, as rural as we are, and there's only about 10 people out here. 3 of them had already been flagged as bad neighbors, which I wasn't one of them, surprisingly. But then again, I don't know these people.
So how does one get flagged as a bad neighbor?
I don't remember the name of the website. I was just trying to find it, and maybe it doesn't exist anymore, but I couldn't find it. And it was something about bad neighbors. And you could go in and basically it was just to put pissy comments on people that you didn't like that lived next to you and didn't pick their trash up or something like that. And yeah, in my little area there were already 3 people around me that had been flagged, and I don't think the site had been up that long. But if anybody out there remembers this site and can tell me what the name of it is, I need to check up on that and see if anybody's flagged me.
Just nothing but a band of miscreants and transients and ne'er-do-wells in your neighborhood.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Well, there is, and so I'll close out my recommendation by mentioning on that, Mel, there's a solution for tagging bad people. It's a Twitter list. It's called Enemies of the State. I maintain it. And
I am on that one.
You're on that one. You're on
I'm
that
familiar.
one. And Matt is, I believe, on that one as well.
Very familiar with that list, yes.
So that's always available if you're looking to find bad people. So I keep track. I keep track. So that's mine for today. Matt, I think we will turn it over to you next.
All right, I'm going to go a little broad, and then I'm going to sort of whittle it way down a little bit. But streaming media online is awesome. I love it. We cut cable like 5 years ago, so we haven't had a television cable bill in a very long time. So recently, Netflix and Amazon Streaming announced some new stuff coming to their properties. Netflix is getting some classics, some 80s classics. One of them being Adventures in Babysitting, which was a fantastically hilarious movie. They're getting some James Bond movies: Goldfinger, A View to a Kill, For Your Eyes Only, From Russia with Love, Live and Let Die, Never Say Never Again. All those are coming to Netflix. Actually, they're on there right now as of May 1st. And then 4 Godzilla movies from the 1960s and one from the 50s. Godzilla versus Monster Zero versus Mothra, King of the Monsters, and Godzilla's Revenge from 1969.
Which
also,
one had little baby Godzilla?
I don't remember.
Oh, that was like
was
Son
a
of Godzilla, probably.
Weird looking thing.
Scrappy Doo Godzilla? Is that what
Yeah, that's kind of what he reminded me
Put
of.
him up! Put him up!
Pretty much. May 15th, Eddie Murphy's Delirious comes to Netflix. That was one of those movies I snuck and watched at my buddy's house when I probably shouldn't have. Way young. And if you're into Star Trek movies that don't feel like Star Trek movies, Star Trek Into Darkness is coming out May 17th. That should anger all the Star Trek Into Darkness fans out there. Which I probably shouldn't do because we're all about nurturing and supporting on Nurture and Support. So, hey, it's coming.
Have Benedict Cumberbatch in it. I'll watch it any day.
Okay, there you go. The ladies love Benedict.
Yes.
And on Amazon, I think it's a little more exciting. They're getting all seasons of The Sopranos, all seasons of The Wire, all seasons of Deadwood, 6 Feet Under, and Flight of the Conchords. I'm very excited about that. As an Amazon Prime member, I have access to Amazon streaming. So I'm really excited about that.
Prime, Kelly.
Yeah, you fancy pants Amazon primers.
Kelly's not in the club?
I'm not in the Amazon Prime club, no.
He disses Amazon to me all the time.
I'm the man of the people. I'm not this elitist Amazon Prime. You have your powdered wigs and everything else that you do.
Well, this dude in a powdered wig's getting free shipping for 2 days, all darn day, my friend. On a lot of items. I've made money from this. I have made our Amazon Prime membership back in saved shipping costs. So it makes good financial sense. It's good advice. You need to reconsider that.
All I ask is that after this show tonight, you change your Twitter handle to this dude in the powdered wig.
No, I don't think so. Maybe I'll start up a new one.
But we do have the audio clip, which may make a reappearance at some point in time. FYI.
I gotta be careful what I say on this show, apparently. There are people recording my every word.
That's right.
So basically it was a quick hit recommendation. Netflix and Amazon, a lot of good stuff. I know Netflix sometimes takes some grief from not having anything good on there, but I mean there's a lot of really great bad stuff on Netflix. Let's be honest. There's really some good bad B movies and C movies and probably some D movies on Netflix. But I'm really excited about the HBO deal that Amazon struck. I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, I need to go back and watch Deadwood. I have not. I saw a few episodes of it back when it was on, but I missed most of it. And then
I've not seen any of Deadwood. I've heard amazing things. I'm really coming to the party late on this one, but it's a great cast. I checked them out on IMDb and watched a few clips online. It's just an amazing cast. I can't wait to get into it.
Yep. I am looking forward to it, too. I haven't looked into what all shows were coming, but I had heard about that deal, so I'm glad you were talking about what shows were coming.
Yep, and you can Google, CNN had a good article where I pulled most of these names, if not all of these names from. CNN, Netflix, new in May or whatever. Should get you there.
And I should mention, since we're speaking about Netflix, that there was a good article about a bunch of the sci-fi shows that are coming back over the summer. And I just want to assure everyone that Hemlock Grove will be back on Netflix this summer. So you can see more gross werewolf transformations.
There you go.
I happen to like that show. I know a lot of people thought it was weird, and it was definitely weird, but I enjoyed it in a weird way.
So you're saying it was completely normal?
Yes, for me, absolutely.
I've not seen any of it, but I'll check it out upon your recommendation.
The very first episode, they show the most amazing werewolf transformation you've ever seen. Everybody out there, you can go to YouTube and search for Hemlock Grove, and you'll find the werewolf transformation. But it's in the very first episode,
Now,
and it is awesome.
practical effects, not CG, right? Is it practical effects?
I'm sure it's CGI in there too, but it's amazing. It is the grossest, most realistic type werewolf transformation I've ever seen in the many, many, many werewolf movies and shows that I have watched. It is wonderfully gross.
See, I think for me, the best and maybe it's nostalgia, but American Werewolf in London was great because that was all practical effects. It was all air bladders and cut shots here and there. Just amazing.
I think they've got a mix in that one. I haven't looked it up lately. I know back when it was on, I knew all of this, but I have forgotten it because I have to purge the memory once in a while. But I think it was a mixture of both, and it was just amazing. So it's up on YouTube. At least it was when they were even releasing that transformation. The clips of it were up before the show even aired on Netflix. So it is out there. If any of you have not seen it yet, I definitely recommend that you watch that werewolf transformation because it's cool. So there you go. Hemlock Grove on Netflix.
Excellent.
Which is a shadow recommendation. I'm thinking for the blog post.
Sure, why not? I'm just throwing it out there.
PS recommendation. We'll get
that one snuck in there.
I think I've talked to Jeans about Hemlock Grove before, and for anyone who wants to know more about it, I believe Jeans and Bronwyn did a whole show where they talked about Hemlock Grove on Bring Out Your Geek.
Oh, very cool. I'm
not sure that they were as big a fans of it as I was, but yeah. Anyway, there.
So Matt, I'm asking this question. This question isn't like, please don't assume this question is that all? But I would want to make sure. So you mentioned you said you had a quick hit recommendation. A second one. Have we covered your recommendations?
We have covered my recommendation. I've got a social recommendation for later.
Okay.
We've covered what I have for this segment. Okay. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Excellent. That's good. And I would like at this point to point out before we turn it over to Mel, you probably should note, and I think that this is something to be very proud of. It took 22 shows before I was irritating enough for you to tell me, for you to throw out a bite me, which is actually pretty good because I'm an irritating guy. So
actually, it's pretty good for me. Most people hear that pretty fast. I'm sure I've said it before on Twitter, though. It may just be the first time I've said it where it could be recorded.
That's true. But
I've probably said it before.
I think we both should be proud of 22 shows before it happens. So.
We should. It's an accomplishment. All right, so my recommendation this week is going to be a book, and it is called The Martian by Andy Weir, I believe is how you say it. It's Weir. It's a recent release, and it has gotten rave reviews from a lot of the people that I trust to recommend books to me. And so I decided to give it a read. I really didn't know much about what it was about when I went into it, other than, I knew it was about an astronaut on Mars. It's labeled science fiction, so I really wasn't quite sure if they were going to throw aliens in or what all this was going to be about. If science fiction is not really your thing and you're not into aliens and space travel and all of that kind of stuff, I can assure you The Martian could take place like right now. It's a very near future fiction book, and the synopsis of the back cover, I'll just read it to you. 6 days ago, astronaut Mark Watney became one of the first people to walk on Mars. Now, he's sure he'll be the first person to die there. Essentially, this is a very near future type technology. We have started to send manned missions to Mars. They stay in a dome, in a habitat dome, for, I forget how long, about a month, and then they get back on a ship called Hermes, which brings them back to Earth. It deals with, if you're aware of kind of the current theories on technologies of how to get us to Mars in a realistic fashion, I found the science involved in all of this to be pretty close to what I've read would be recommended. They're actually using a spaceship called the Hermes, which makes an elliptical orbit from Earth to Mars on a continuous run. I'm not real I'm very layman on that sort of stuff, so I'm not going to try to tell everybody, oh yeah, the science was great, and you won't have anything to gripe about if that happens to be one of your pet project type things. It was believable to me, so let me just say that. So he and a bunch of other astronauts are there, and a sandstorm kicks up, and they have to abort the mission. They've only been there for a couple of days. He gets hit with basically a radio antenna from the dome. It punctures his suit, and the rest of his team can't find him in the storm, and his vitals are reading that he's dead. So they leave him there. But he's not dead.
Wow.
He's left on Mars, stranded. The rest of his team shoots up to orbit in the only vehicle there and leaves him. And he has no way to contact Earth. He has no way to contact them. And it takes years, it's years in between these missions to get another one back to Mars. So luckily, the only thing that he has going for him is that they actually hadn't been there very long. So he had 6 people's worth of food in the dome. And he's a very resourceful guy, and he has to start coming up with ways to stretch his food supply, and even tries to grow food and survive until they can get a mission back to him. But in the meantime, while he's trying to figure out how to survive, everybody thinks he's dead. And so then he has to come up with a way to try to tell Earth that he's really not dead, so that they can try to help keep him alive until somebody comes back. So that is the gist of this story. I will mention that the audiobook narrator is also excellent. I always tell y'all that I'm picky about audiobooks, and the narrators, they irritate the crap out of me a lot of times, but the narrator of this audiobook is an R.C. Bray, and he did an excellent job. If they don't turn this book into a movie, I will be sorely, sorely disappointed. Which they've actually optioned it, but I don't know how far along they've gotten into actually making it. But when you read this book, you can actually see a lot of the scenes playing out, at least I could, as a movie scene. It's like written for film, and it is amazing. The character of Mark Watney is an engineer, and he is very, very clever and resourceful. And I'm sorry, Kelly.
That was
Were you
Matt.
trying to say something?
No, that was Matt clearing
Oh,
his
I'm sorry.
Not me.
Oh, did my mic not turn off?
It did
That's
not.
okay.
Check.
Yeah, we hear you.
We hear you.
Should not happen. I apologize.
No problem.
That's okay. We're just glad to see that your technology fails too.
Yeah, it's like I'm running Windows 8 over here.
Damn Windows 8. Okay, so back to the Martian. Mark Watney is an awesome character. He is very snarky, very sarcastic. He handles his stranding on Mars very well, and is very dedicated to keeping himself alive, and comes up with some very ingenious ways to do everything. And I'm not going to give the ending of the story away to you. It's full of action. It's full of him screwing up. And as I've kind of brought up in the past, I'm a fan of space travel and NASA and science in general. And this book reminded me a lot of how when I was a kid and the space program was a big thing. It really hasn't been much of a big thing in recent years for the kids growing up. But when I was a kid, we went and sat in the library for every space shuttle launch, and we watched it, and space was exciting, and launching a shuttle was exciting, and it was something that we paid attention to. And that hasn't been happening. Of course, we don't have a shuttle anymore, so that kind of contributes to it. But that hasn't been happening in the last many decades since I was a kid. So this brought back to me all of that excitement that I remember having as a kid about space travel and how cool astronauts were and all of that sort of things. I just wanted to, let's see, there was a quote I wanted to read to everybody from the book, which just, I don't know, it just kind of tickled me. He's talking about duct tape here. Yes, of course, duct tape works in a near vacuum. Duct tape works anywhere. Duct tape is magic and should be worshipped, which is something I completely agree with. So I gave this book actually 5 stars, 5 out of 5. It was totally fun. This is a book that you can read in a quick sitting. It's not over anybody's head. That's not what it's about. It's not supposed to blow you away with the science. It's supposed to energize you and get you excited about space and Mars and astronauts and basically good old American ingenuity in surviving in a vacuum on Mars. And I can tell you, since I didn't really know what I was getting into when I started reading this book, I was really, really afraid at one point he was going to go outside the dome and there were going to be freaking aliens. But there weren't. There are no aliens, so everybody can take a deep breath and relax. Aliens are not going to save him. He's going to have to save himself.
Spoiler alert.
Yes, that's the only spoiler I'm going to give you. I'm not going to tell you that Mark Watney lives to make it off of Mars. I'm not going to tell you he lives or he dies. There's a lot going on there, and it could go either way. So he tries really hard. He makes some monstrous blunders that almost kill him numerous times. And I'm not going to give the ending away, but it is a fun read. And I recommend it to anybody. It's not going to be over anybody's head with all the science. He's not like a scientist that's always talking about all the science and technology and NASA this and NASA that. He's kind of cowboyish, even though he would not describe himself as that. So I think it's great. A number of my literary friends have also given it 5 stars, but I just thought it was fun. It was just a fun book to read. And outside of my normal reading lately, I've been reading a lot of just straight up science fiction and fantasy. And I really enjoyed this for being just to me, just a fiction book. I wouldn't call it science fiction. I would call it it was just fiction. So it was great.
Sounds excellent. It sounds really fun. So, Mel, I need to ask 3 very smart-ass questions, each of which I already know the answer to. The question is no, but I still feel I need to ask these questions.
Okay.
So when he was stranded, and I know the answers to these questions already is no, but when he was stranded, did he try calling Jimmy John's? Because I hear they're really fast.
No.
No. You mentioned they talked a lot about the technology. Did they happen to mention which operating system ran the space shuttle?
Not the space shuttle, but he has a laptop which doesn't work, and I bet you it's running Windows 8.
So inferred, okay.
Yes, Mars kills that laptop, and it's just crappy, so I'm sure it was Windows 8.
That's what it was, okay. And then last one, you mentioned the audiobook reader was Bray. When he says his name, does he finish it like a donkey?
I don't know that he ever actually said his name, but no, I do not recall there being a donkey in the audiobook, so I would say no.
I was like Robert Bray. I just thought it'd be cool, but okay. I knew the answers to those, but I just
had to ask anyway.
Had to ask anyway because because
you're Kelly Tool.
That's right.
Once again, episode 22 of Nurture and Support brought to you by Windows 8.
They might be filing an injunction.
Yes.
No, they're too busy working on Windows 8.5.
Oh, God.
Or 9.
They can't actually get the system to submit. Damn, do I touch it? Or do I go back to desktop mode? Or where's this? Anyway.
I don't know where the start button is.
I know, you have to pay to get an app to get you a start button back. It's ridiculous.
Well, I think the start button is back now or coming back soon.
Okay.
Yeah, in a version
Too late. I already had to get an app to give me a start button back.
That seems wrong.
And it's a little biohazard symbol representing the crappiness of Windows 8.
So, I think we'll move on to social media recommendations at this point in time.
Good call.
And we probably established this the last time Matt joined us, is that Matt and I share an employer. We're in the same workplace environment with some regularity. And I'm sure he will recognize that this is a phrase that he hears me shout out at random people on a regular basis. But my Twitter recommendation is a wonderful Twitter account called You Had One Job. It's actually @ You Had One Job. And it's just a series of remarkably bad decisions by folks. And the most recent posting was from a lovely photo of Cox Farms, C-O-X Farms, Cox Farms. They look to be either a flea market or a nursery, or it looks like they've got some large bear statues and those types of things. And they've got a lovely kind of colonial-looking Cox Farms sign where they can put up the little letters. And their note says, and I believe this was in advance of Mother's Day, Your mom called, says she loves cocks. So you had one job, and your job was to put up a Mother's Day greeting, and that's what someone chose to do. Great ones still my all-time favorite is the showing a little short stairwell and the railing. So the appropriate angle to put the railing on the stairwell. This railing was put the complete opposite angle. So as the stairs go down, the railing goes up. And it was like all you had to do is to put in this railing. Your one job was to put in this railing, and you couldn't even do that right. So
all right, give us that Twitter handle again.
That's @_ you had one job.
Okay.
And another thing they should post here is a picture of the Nurture and Support Twitter account, because what Mel and I need to do is start putting all these recommendations. We need to be following them on the Nurture and Support Twitter account and putting them in a list. And maybe one day that will happen, but not yet. But it is @_ you had one job, and it's awesome. So
oh God, I'm looking at the Cox Farms one right now. That's just
payback
gold.
for my Geekrotica recommendation, I guess. I was told there would be payback.
There was a door open, and then so Matt, if you happen to have brought up the second one that kind of continues down the theme of Cox Farms, I'm not going to go into it at this point, but it's an unfortunate coloring book drawing. So there's lots of things out there. So I recommend people follow You Had One Job for a chuckle or two.
Yeah. Oh God. Oh my God. No. That's so awkward.
Oh, they're gonna make me have to go look at this.
Yeah, you really need to. My goodness. So is that to turn the phrase back on you, Kelly? Is that it?
That's it. That's all I got, man.
Okay.
That should be enough.
That's more than enough. Believe me. That's probably gonna keep me occupied for the next hour after we get done with the show.
You know what I hear about your mom, Matt. No, anyway, go ahead.
Whoa! Whoa!
Whoa!
Hey, she called.
Oh!
I'm sorry.
Holy cow! You had
go ahead,
one
Matt.
job. You had one job, Kelly.
I know. Be nice to the guests. Sorry.
All right. So my social media recommendation is on Facebook and YouTube, and it's called Woodworking for Mere Mortals. And this might sound boring, and I assure you it's not. There's this guy. He's got an awesome YouTube channel, and I found him on a Lifehacker article, and what he showed was what got me into his channel was he showed a method of printing and transferring inkjet prints to wood. So what he would do is he would buy like these sheets of Avery mailing labels and whatnot. He would peel all the labels off and all the the assorted leftover label material, and he would print a picture. And he actually used a Doctor Who photo of Matt Smith and Karen Gillan, and he would print that picture onto the side where he took the stickers off, and the inkjet ink doesn't like to dry on that, so it stays wet for a very long time, but you can't touch it or else it'll smudge. And basically what he did was he put a piece of tape on the back side of that and flipped it over, put it on this piece of wood, and just sort of pressed his hands down on it, and it perfectly transferred this inkjet photo to the wood. Now it dries virtually instantly on the wood. It comes completely off from what I saw of the sticker sheet. But if you're looking to do sort of a DIY thing at home, if you want to make some sort of a unique gift idea or whatnot, that was kind of neat. It's got me thinking about applications of what could I do around the house. And his YouTube channel is all kinds of simple step-by-step instructions of how you can make stuff out of wood for your home or for family or whatever. He does a lot of pallet, like cast off pallet wood projects. He has made a flower pot based on this other guy who posted the page a lot named Carmen, making old school wood beer tankards. Look really awesome. So yeah, this jumped out at me. It wasn't something that I was expecting to sort of follow down this rabbit hole. But it turned out to be a lot more interesting than I thought it would be, and some of these projects actually look really simple and really kind of fun.
Do you get to see both of his hands?
Yes, he has both of his hands.
All the fingers are still there.
All the fingers are still there.
It's one of my early evaluations on a woodworking recommender.
I was wondering where that was going.
Yep, he's got a good presence. He's funny. He knows how to put on a show, but he clearly knows what he's doing, or at least well enough to have a YouTube channel. And it's great. He's got almost 50,000 likes on Facebook. He's got well more than that on YouTube. It's a lot of fun. I can't wait to sort of dig into more of this channel to see some simple things that I can put together.
Very cool.
All right, cool.
That's it. That is it.
Got to work on
All
that
right,
Right.
transition.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. I thought I was pretty final in my tone.
I would have you were. It was an excellent recommendation. I know I left the door open. It was unclear for me. I'm willing to accept that.
Right. Thank you.
Save us, Mel.
Please.
Okay.
You're our only hope.
Yeah. Then y'all are so screwed.
Because clearly she's operating on a Windows 8 machine.
That's right. Okay. My social media recommendation is, I don't know how social media it is. It's actually going to be a Twitter account, but it's a podcast. The Twitter account is at the Diablo Show, and that is a new, as it sounds, Diablo 3 podcast by Scott Johnson, who has the awesome website of frogpants.com. I just love the name of that. He's a big podcaster. He's got a bazillion podcasts out there, but he has just started one about Diablo 3. And since that was a recent recommendation of mine, he started that right after I gave that recommendation. I suggest y'all follow that account and listen to that podcast. There are a couple of episodes out now. And if you want to get into the more advanced topics of Reaper of Souls and the new adventure mode in Diablo, he's in with everybody at Blizzard, and he's going to get some of the Blizzard people on talking about things to do and all that, what the best strategies are, and just fun stuff about Diablo if you are a Diablo nerd, kind of like me. So check out at the Diablo Show to get all the links to the podcast and Scott Johnson in particular and his frogpants.com studio. And that's all I have.
Awesome.
I am done. Me and Windows 8. We're over.
Windows 8 out. All righty, cool. So, just because I think Matt's a little embittered that we got all that free work out of him last time.
What would give you that idea?
Just your incessant whining on the pre-show. I think that was the part that...
You can't prove that. You can't prove that. You're making stuff up.
I know. Yeah. So we'll try and do the bump out old school instead of being lazy and using Matt's fine articulation of it. I'll start and screw it up, and Mel can clean it up.
I don't remember it. I don't know if I can remember it.
So we have a Gmail account. There's
do.
an and in it. I believe the Gmail account will be nertandsup@gmail.com. You can email us there, and with any suggestions and recommendations you have, we would love to read those on the show. You can follow us on Twitter at nertandsup, @nertandsup on Twitter, which we will get eventually to be following all of our Twitter recommendations and have a list and all kinds of fancy smancy things like that. You can go to the website, nurtureandsupport.net. Where you will have all of the links to all the past shows, all the links to the things we mentioned today as well, and you can go through and do all of that as well. So you got the website, you got the Gmail account, you got the Twitter account, and of course you have Mel and my personal accounts at Kelly Tool on Twitter and at Karmic9 on Twitter. So hit us up any of those paths if you'd like to come on to give a recommendation, or if you just want to send one in and have us read it. Love to have you on. And as always, Matt, it's a pleasure when you can join us. It's fun.
Don't patronize me now.
That's true. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it at all. I mean, it was not as unpleasant as I anticipated. Is that?
That's from Kelly Tool. That's a ringing endorsement right there.
That's
Thank
the
you.
Kelly Tool we know and love.
That's right. Our own personification of Windows 8.
Oh, you were an operating system. What operating system would you be? I bet you I'd be OS 2. So we may be back next week. It depends on kind of Mel's relationship with Windows 8.
Yeah.
There could be could be problems.
I
Yeah.
have a dead laptop here pretty soon.
That's right.
Yeah, we're gonna have to work on this relationship because it's just not working for me.
Yeah, but in this case, it's not me, it's you. Windows 8, it's you. So
Yes.
It's
Not me, it's you. So I think that's all we have for this glorious episode of Nurture and Support. And we'll hopefully be back next week. If not, hit us up on Twitter. We will tell you when we will be back after I kill my laptop.
Nurturing and supporting. Terminated.